The starfield stretched endlessly in front of Taro's ship. The quiet hum of the engine filled the cabin, but his mind was alert. Years of training and exploration had brought him to this remote part of the galaxy. He adjusted the controls carefully, guiding the small human vessel toward a system that was said to be under alien control. Maps from distant explorers marked the planets, moons, and space stations, but Taro knew that nothing could fully prepare him for what he might find as the ship emerged from the warp field. The first alien station came into view. It floated like a metallic jewel in space, enormous and gleaming under the distant sun. Ships of various sizes moved around it in precise patterns. Taro studied them quietly, noting the disciplined formations and the strength of their defenses. The aliens were proud. He could tell that at a glance. They were sure that no human could challenge them, that no human could ever understand their tactics or technology. Taro activated the ship's sensors and scanned the fleets. He noticed small inefficiencies that no alien commander would admit. Their weapons were powerful, but slow to adapt. Their shields were strong, but they had predictable cycles. Taro smiled faintly. He had learned that patience and observation often mattered more than raw strength. While the aliens celebrated their power, humans learned quietly. A small alien scout ship detected Taro's presence and approached. It was sleek, silver, and clearly designed for speed. Taro adjusted the ship's trajectory, keeping just out of range. The alien pilot appeared confident, sending signals of warning. Taro responded with careful gestures, showing that he meant no harm. The aliens watched humans with suspicion, but they never considered humans serious threats. They thought humans were noisy, careless, and weak. They could not see the quiet strength Taro carried. Taro docked near an unoccupied station to gather data. He moved through the narrow corridors, scanning the environment, recording information about the station's design, energy flow, and communication channels. Every detail mattered. The aliens had technology far advanced in many ways, but Taro could see flaws. Their pride made them predictable. Their belief in their superiority made them careless. The quiet human knew that observation could be as powerful as any weapon. As the sun rose over a distant planet, Taro returned to his ship. He floated above the planet's atmosphere, watching clouds swirl and oceans shimmer. He thought about humanity and the long journey that had brought them here. Humans were not the strongest, not the fastest, and not the most advanced. But humans were patient. Humans learned, adapted, and never underestimated challenges. This system was proud, arrogant, and certain of its dominance. That made it the perfect place to begin showing the truth. Taro prepared his instruments for detailed scans. He observed the alien fleet movements, noting patterns that repeated daily. The aliens rotated patrols, checked signals, and communicated in a rhythm that seemed perfect to them. Taro recorded everything, understanding that knowledge was a weapon humans had mastered over centuries. One small human ship alone could not defeat this fleet, but humans did not rely on single victories. Humans relied on strategy, adaptation, and clever tactics. The day passed quietly. Alien ships moved through space like clockwork. Their commanders spoke with pride over communications, laughing at the thought of humans daring to explore their system. Taro remained calm, blending into shadows, quiet and invisible. He knew the most dangerous weapon was not a laser or a missile, but the human mind prepared to act when the time was right. The aliens did not see it yet. Night came, though. Space had no true darkness. Stars glittered like tiny lanterns scattered across the void. Taro floated above the planet, feeling a strange connection to the universe. Humans had traveled far, beyond home worlds and familiar constellations, and yet they remained small in the vast galaxy. But humans were never weak. Taro's mind turned. over ideas, testing strategies, and planning future moves. Every observation, every record, would become a step toward proving humanity's strength. As the first part of the mission concluded, Taro sent encrypted reports back to Earth. They contained no grand announcements, no declarations of war, only facts, patterns, and careful observations. Humans acted quietly, preparing for challenges ahead, while aliens continued to mock their presence. Taro smiled. The quiet human was often ignored, but that was exactly the advantage he needed. In the distance, an alien fleet commander watched the planet below, unaware of the careful observer among the stars. They would not notice the beginning of something greater. Taro's arrival marked the start of a journey that would test patience, courage, and intelligence. Humanity was small, quiet, and underestimated. That made them dangerous in ways the galaxy had never seen. After returning from his first observations, Taro sat in the quiet control room of his ship. The stars outside glimmered like scattered diamonds, but his mind was focused on one task. The alien fleets were powerful, precise, and confident, but Taro had learned that confidence often hid weaknesses. He reviewed the data he had collected, noting patterns, signals, and movements that the aliens considered routine. Every detail mattered, and humans had the skill to notice what others overlooked. Taro began the preparations carefully. He could not risk showing the aliens that he understood their system. Even a hint of knowledge could trigger a premature attack. He instructed his small human crew to remain calm, to study alien behavior without alerting them. They analyzed patrol schedules, weapon range, shield patterns, and communication delays. Every repetition of the alien routines was a clue. Humans were patient. They did not rush. They waited until the moment was perfect. The human engineers worked quietly in the ship's laboratory. They modified components, tested energy conduits, and improved defensive shields. Their designs were simple yet highly adaptable. Unlike the alien technology, which was powerful but rigid, human technology could change quickly to respond to new challenges. Taro observed the work with pride. The aliens had never needed to adapt. They had never been tested in ways that required creativity and flexibility. Soon, they would learn the cost of underestimating humans. Meanwhile, small alien patrols continued to pass near Taro's ship. They scanned the area, curious but dismissive. To them, the human ship was insignificant, barely worth attention. Their leaders boasted about how easy it would be to destroy a human craft if they chose. Taro's eyes followed the patrols with quiet interest. Every maneuver they made was a lesson. Every assumption they showed was an opportunity. Humans thrived in observation. Humans turned knowledge into power. As days passed, Taro and his crew practiced simulations of possible encounters. They tested evasive maneuvers, communication strategies, and defensive formations. Each scenario was run carefully, and every failure became a lesson. Unlike the aliens who celebrated their victories and ignored mistakes, humans improved with every challenge. Taro understood that preparation was more than building ships or weapons. Preparation was patience, foresight, and learning faster than the enemy. One morning, the human sensors detected a new development. An alien convoy was preparing to leave the system for a routine patrol beyond the borders. Taro observed silently as the aliens coordinated their fleet. He noted delays in communication, repeated signals, and predictable paths. The aliens were confident that humans could not interfere. They had no idea that Taro was quietly recording every step, every signal, and every strategy. Humans turned arrogance into opportunity. In the evenings, Taro would record detailed reports. These reports contained not only technical details, but also psychological observations. He noticed the pride, impatience, and overconfidence of the alien commanders. He studied how they interacted, how they responded to small challenges, and how they underestimated anything outside their experience. Humans had learned long ago that understanding the mind of an opponent could be as powerful as any weapon. Taro knew that these observations would guide every move the humans would make. In the future, the human crew also trained daily. They practiced coordination, timing, and teamwork. Every crew member knew their role, but they also learned to adapt to unexpected situations. Humans could work together seamlessly because they trusted one another and had confidence in their own judgment. The aliens assumed humans were chaotic and unskilled. This assumption would soon prove to be a fatal mistake. Taro's calm demeanor never wavered, even as alien patrols came closer. He spoke softly to his crew, encouraging patience. "And focus. Observe first," he said. "Understand, adapt, and prepare. We will not act until the moment is right. When we do, every step will matter." The crew nodded, knowing that their leader understood the value of quiet determination. Humans did not need to boast. Humans acted with purpose. As the cycle of preparation continued, Taro realized one truth. The aliens had power, but they lacked foresight. They had strength, but they lacked adaptability. Humans had the opposite. Taro smiled quietly. The galaxy often assumed humans were weak because they did not shout or display dominance. Yet humans were patient, resourceful, and clever. This patience would allow them to turn the tables on even the mightiest fleet. Night fell across the system, and the stars glimmered beyond the ship's viewports. Taro watched the distant alien fleet, silent and confident. They did not notice the subtle changes the humans were making. They did not see the quiet preparations that would soon challenge their arrogance. Humans had learned the power of observation and preparation. The galaxy had not yet witnessed the full potential of the quiet human. But Taro knew the moment of truth was coming. With a steady hand, he adjusted the ship's systems once more. Every sensor, every engine, and every shield was ready. The quiet human waited, knowing that patience and preparation were more powerful than any display of arrogance. Soon, the galaxy would remember that humans were not to be ignored. Taro's small human ship moved silently near the edge of the alien-controlled system. The sensors picked up movement from a patrol fleet approaching a nearby planet. The aliens were confident, thinking no human craft could challenge them. Taro's eyes scanned every detail, noticing patterns, weapon ranges, and communication signals. Every repetition they made was an opportunity to learn. The alien patrols advanced toward the planet. Their ships were larger, stronger, and heavily armed. The commanders believed they had nothing to fear from the single human vessel. Taro adjusted the ship's trajectory, keeping just outside the patrol's sensor range. He stayed calm, as though floating peacefully through space, while his crew worked quietly to analyze the incoming fleet. A scout ship from the alien patrol moved closer. Its sleek body reflected the planet's light. The alien pilot transmitted a warning signal, demanding the human vessel leave immediately. Taro did not reply aggressively. Instead, he sent a simple acknowledgement, signaling peaceful intentions. The aliens assumed humans were weak and careless. They did not know that Taro had prepared for this moment carefully. As the alien scout circled, Taro studied its movements. The ship followed predictable patterns, repeating loops that exposed its blind spots. Taro adjusted his ship's thrusters to slip between the patrol sensors. The aliens watched, confused, as the human ship seemed to appear and disappear at will. The crew held their breath, trusting Taro's calm decisions. Every maneuver was deliberate. Humans were not reckless, and this patience gave them an advantage. Suddenly, the alien fleet commander sent a larger ship to intercept. It was massive, bristling with weapons and built to intimidate. The human crew prepared for evasive action, but Taro remained composed. He analyzed the larger ship's trajectory and shield cycles. Using precise timing, he guided the human ship through a narrow corridor in the patrol formation, avoiding detection completely. The aliens were surprised by the small ship's ability to move through their defenses with ease. Taro activated a sensor pulse to map the fleet's internal communication patterns. The aliens reacted quickly, trying to trace the signal, but Taro's ship emitted a counter-frequency that made detection almost impossible. The human crew watched the displays carefully, noting every delay and every weak point. Each detail was a clue that would later inform the larger strategy. Humans could see what the aliens could not. The patrol began to grow frustrated. The alien commanders could not understand how a single human vessel avoided their most advanced detection systems. They tried to force the human ship to retreat using small warning attacks. Taro adjusted shields and maneuvered with precise calculations, keeping the crew safe while gathering valuable data. The aliens believed they were in control, but Taro's quiet skill revealed how much they underestimated humans. Hours passed, as Taro continued the careful game of observation and evasion. The human ship moved gracefully, almost like it belonged to the stars rather than being chased. The alien fleet made mistakes, overcorrecting in their frustration. Taro recorded each one, knowing that understanding the enemy's weaknesses would make the humans stronger. Humans did not rush into battle without knowledge. Humans prepared in silence until the moment was right. As the first encounter ended, Taro guided the human ship back to a safe position behind a small asteroid field. The aliens retreated, still confused and slightly shaken by how the small human vessel had evaded them. Taro's crew let out quiet sighs of relief. The encounter had been successful. It proved that humans, even small and seemingly weak, could navigate dangerous situations with intelligence and calm precision. Before resting, Taro gathered the crew. "The aliens think they are powerful," he said softly. "They do not see what we can do when we plan carefully. Today was only a test. Tomorrow we will be ready for more. Observation, patience, and preparation are our strength." The crew nodded, understanding the value of every small victory. The quiet human had once again demonstrated that skill and intelligence could challenge even the strongest fleets. The stars outside the viewport glittered as the human ship drifted in the calm of space. Taro looked at the distant alien fleet, noting the small errors and overconfidence that would later make all the difference. The first encounter had shown that humans could act quietly, adapt quickly, and survive against overwhelming odds. The galaxy had not yet seen the full measure of human skill, but the first step had been taken. The quiet human had been noticed, even if the aliens did not fully understand why. Outpost was smaller than the alien stations he had seen before, but it held valuable information. Supplies moved constantly through its docks, and messages from distant fleets passed through its communication arrays. Taro had chosen it carefully, knowing that what he learned here could change the balance of power in the system. The human ship approached quietly, using asteroid shadows to stay hidden. Sensors scanned the outpost, mapping patrol routes, entry points, and blind spots. Taro spoke softly to his crew. "We are not here to fight. We are here to observe. Every detail matters. Every action must be careful and precise." The crew nodded, understanding that stealth was their greatest weapon. Humans did not rely on raw power alone. Humans relied on intelligence, patience, and adaptability. Using a small shuttle, Taro and 2 crew members approached the outpost surface. They landed in a shadowed area where patrols rarely passed. The shuttle was compact and quiet, designed to be almost invisible to sensors. As they moved through the narrow corridors of the outpost, Taro's team used handheld scanners to record energy flows, communication channels, and security protocols. Everything was measured, every pattern noted. The aliens had technology far advanced in many ways, but they had weaknesses that only a careful observer could discover. Inside the outpost, alien personnel moved with confidence. They believed no human could infiltrate their station. Taro and his team moved slowly, carefully, avoiding cameras and patrols. They discovered that some sections of the outpost were poorly monitored, relying on assumptions of safety rather than constant vigilance. Taro smiled quietly. Humans had trained to find gaps, to notice what others ignored. These small gaps, overlooked by arrogant aliens, were exactly what humans needed. The crew found a central communication hub and began recording signals. Messages from distant fleets passed through quickly, but the team captured patterns and timings. They noted delays and repeated sequences. Taro realized that the alien fleets relied heavily on predictable schedules. Humans could exploit this. The data collected here would allow precise planning for future encounters. The aliens had strength, but humans had foresight. Taro also observed the behavior of the alien personnel. They were proud and impatient, quick to reprimand small mistakes. They assumed their technology and numbers made them invincible. This overconfidence made them predictable. Humans understood that observation was not only about technology, but also about understanding minds. The aliens' arrogance was a weakness humans could use without ever firing a shot. After hours of careful recording, the team prepared to leave. Taro double-checked the data to ensure nothing was left behind that could reveal their presence. They moved back to the shuttle and returned to the human ship, still hidden among asteroid shadows. Every step had been deliberate. Every action had been measured. The aliens would not suspect that their outpost had been infiltrated so thoroughly and silently. Back on the ship, Taro reviewed the collected information. Every schedule, patrol route, and communication pattern was logged. The data painted a clear picture of the alien fleet's strengths and weaknesses. Taro shared his observations with the crew. They are strong, but they do not adapt quickly. They rely on patterns and repetition. We can use this. Knowledge is more powerful than speed or firepower when used correctly. The crew studied the records, understanding that their patience and preparation had turned the odds slightly in their favor. As the human ship drifted through space, Taro felt a sense of quiet satisfaction. The first encounter had shown the fleet that humans could evade detection. The infiltration proved that humans could gather critical intelligence without alerting the aliens. Each action, each careful step, reinforced what Taro had always believed. Humans were underestimated, not because they were weak, but because they did not boast. They acted quietly, observed carefully, and planned patiently. The stars outside shimmered. As the human ship moved away from the outpost, Taro looked at the distant alien fleets, noting the arrogance that would soon be challenged. The information they had gathered was only the beginning. Humans would continue to observe, adapt, and prepare. The aliens had dismissed the quiet human, but that dismissal would soon be remembered as their greatest mistake. Taro's eyes returned to the ship's displays, showing the mapped patrol routes and communication signals. The crew worked diligently to analyze every detail. The quiet human had infiltrated where others thought it impossible. Humans had proven that intelligence, patience, and careful planning could rival even the greatest fleets in the galaxy. Taro's ship drifted quietly in orbit above a small, uninhabited moon. The human crew worked diligently, reviewing the intelligence gathered from the outpost. Every patrol route, every communication delay, and every routine of the alien fleet was analyzed carefully. Taro spoke softly to the crew. "We have seen their strength, but we have also seen their weaknesses. Patience now will make us stronger later. We do not strike until we are ready." The aliens remained unaware of the human presence beyond the edges of their controlled system. They believed the previous encounter had been a minor distraction. Fleet commanders laughed at the thought of humans being capable of planning something significant. They saw humans as simple, noisy, and uncoordinated. They did not notice the small changes humans were making quietly in the shadows. The quiet human was preparing. Taro and his crew began assembling a small fleet, carefully constructed from ships that were fast, adaptable, and equipped with advanced defensive systems. Unlike the alien vessels, which relied on brute strength and overwhelming firepower, the human ships were designed for flexibility. Every system could be adjusted quickly, and every crew member knew exactly what to do in any scenario. The fleet moved silently, hidden from alien sensors, ready for a moment that had not yet come. As the days passed, the crew practiced maneuvers in simulated battles. Taro observed each exercise carefully. He reminded them that victory was not about showing force, but about understanding the opponent. Humans had learned to watch, adapt, and act at the right moment. Unlike the aliens, humans did not rely on arrogance. They relied on skill, planning, and unity. The moon's surface provided a quiet place for the humans to test their systems. Engineers calibrated weapons, improved communication arrays, and ensured that defensive shields responded faster than any alien attack pattern. Taro moved between stations, observing the work, giving instructions, and encouraging the crew. Every small adjustment counts, he said. The aliens will not notice us, but they will feel the results when the time comes. Meanwhile, distant sensors detected movements in the alien fleet. Patrols rotated, supply ships passed between stations, and communication relays maintained constant signals. Taro analyzed these carefully. He noticed that the aliens were slow to react to unexpected changes, relying heavily on routine and repetition. This overconfidence was a flaw. Humans had the patience to learn it, and the intelligence to use it in quiet moments. Taro reminded his crew of the importance of strategy. "We act only when the moment is right," he said. "We do not fight for pride or recognition. We fight because we must, and we fight wisely." The aliens have never faced a species that plans, observes, and adapts in silence. That is our advantage. The crew nodded, understanding that patience could be more powerful than force. The days stretched into weeks, but Taro's calm determination never wavered. The humans refined their fleet, tested every system, and rehearsed every maneuver. They worked in silence, moving with purpose and precision. The aliens, confident in their superiority, remained unaware of the quiet human fleet forming in the shadows. Their arrogance blinded them to the threat that was growing steadily in the system as the final preparations continued. Taro gathered the crew for a meeting. He outlined the plan clearly, showing every opportunity and every risk. "The aliens will act first," he said. "They will think they are ready for battle, but we will use their overconfidence against them. Knowledge, patience, and careful timing will decide the outcome. We do not fight recklessly. We fight wisely." The human crew left the meeting motivated and focused. Every member understood their role, every system was ready, and every strategy had been tested. The quiet calm of preparation was powerful. It allowed humans to grow stronger while the aliens remained blind to the danger. The stars outside shimmered as the fleet waited silently, ready for the moment when observation and patience would turn into decisive action. Taro looked at the distant alien fleets, noting the patterns, the delays, and the arrogance. The calm before the storm was nearly complete. Humans had built a fleet in secrecy, learned the enemy's habits, and prepared to strike at the perfect moment. The galaxy had dismissed the quiet human, but the coming storm would show that patience, intelligence, and careful planning could challenge even the mightiest powers. Taro's human fleet moved silently through the outer edges of the alien-controlled system. Every ship was in position, every crew member ready, and every system tested and calibrated. The aliens believed the humans were weak, quiet, and harmless. They had no idea that the calm, quiet fleet was about to challenge their overconfidence in a way they had never experienced. As the alien fleet began its routine patrol near a strategic plant, Taro gave the signal. Human ships split into carefully coordinated formations, moving with precision that seemed impossible to the alien observers. The first strike was not loud or aggressive. It was calculated, precise, and unexpected. Human ships used evasive maneuvers to avoid detection. While targeting key weak points in the alien formations, the aliens were confused. Their communication relays were overloaded with signals they could not interpret. They attempted to respond, but the humans anticipated their reactions. Every move the aliens made was met with countermeasures that had been carefully prepared in advance. Taro's calm voice guided the fleet through the chaos, giving orders with clarity and confidence. Humans acted as one, coordinated and adaptable. While the aliens struggled to regain control, missiles and energy pulses shrieked through space, but they were aimed at precise points in the alien fleet. Human ships avoided direct confrontation with the strongest vessels at first, instead targeting command ships and supply lines. The aliens had relied on size, firepower, and routine, but humans exploited their patterns with speed, intelligence, and patience. The shock of the first hits rippled through the alien formation. Pride and overconfidence turned into confusion and fear. Taro moved his ship closer to observe the impact. He saw alien commanders shouting orders, trying to reorganize their forces. Their largest ships fired relentlessly, but the humans had anticipated these reactions. Defensive shields adjusted, communication networks adapted instantly, and maneuvers countered every attack. The aliens had underestimated the quiet human, and now they faced a force they could not predict. The human fleet worked together seamlessly. Smaller ships blocked attacks, while larger vessels delivered critical strikes. Every crew member knew their role, but they also adapted to the unexpected. Humans did not follow rigid patterns. They changed strategies in the middle of battle, learning from every move of the aliens and using it to their advantage. The alien fleet, strong but inflexible, began to crumble under the coordinated pressure. Taro focused on the command center of the alien fleet. Disabling it would create chaos. Using speed, stealth, and precise timing, human ships struck key systems. The alien communication network faltered, and coordination between their ships broke down. Panic spread through the enemy ranks. Ships collided, formations fell apart, and powerful vessels could not support each other. The humans remained calm, using every opening to advance further. As the battle continued, Taro's fleet maintained discipline. They never acted recklessly. Every strike, every maneuver was intentional. The aliens had relied on overwhelming force and arrogance, but humans had relied on patience, observation, and intelligence. The combination proved devastating. One by one, alien ships were neutralized or forced to retreat. Their pride shattered along with their fleet, leaving the once powerful force in chaos. When the last wave of attacks ended, silence returned to the system. The stars above witnessed a surprising truth. The humans, quiet and underestimated, had defeated a fleet that was larger, stronger, and more advanced. Taro floated in his command ship, observing the wreckage. He felt no pride, only a quiet satisfaction. The victory had been achieved through intelligence, patience, and careful planning. The aliens had learned, painfully, that underestimating humans was a mistake they could never repeat. Taro turned to his crew. "We acted wisely, not recklessly," he said. "The galaxy will remember this day, not because of firepower alone, but because humans think, observe, and adapt. Today proves that the quiet human cannot be ignored." The crew nodded, knowing that their discipline and intelligence had changed the course of events. The human fleet had demonstrated its strength, not through arrogance, but through skill, preparation, and unity. As the surviving alien ships retreated, Taro and his fleet moved carefully through the system. They observed the consequences of their actions, ensuring that any remaining threats could not regroup quickly. Humans had proven their power without unnecessary destruction. The quiet human had shattered fleets and challenged the arrogance of the galaxy, showing that patience, intelligence, and adaptability were weapons stronger than any fleet. The battle had ended, and silence filled the system. The alien fleet, once proud and confident, had been broken. Wrecked ships drifted through space, and commanders who had mocked humanity now realized the quiet human was far more dangerous than they had imagined. Taro's fleet moved carefully among the debris, scanning for survivors and ensuring no hidden threats remained. Humanity had acted decisively, but with caution and intelligence. Taro called a meeting with his crew aboard the command ship. "We have proven something important," he said. "We did not destroy for pride. We acted with purpose, patience, and precision. The galaxy has underestimated humans for too long. Today, we have shown that intelligence and careful planning can overcome even overwhelming force." The crew nodded silently. Each member understood the weight of their actions. Word of the battle traveled quickly through the remaining alien networks. Messages of retreat, confusion, and fear spread across the coalition. Alien leaders sent emissaries to Taro, seeking communication and explanation. They had once mocked humans for their quiet nature and apparent weakness, but now they recognized strength, skill, and intelligence in a species they had dismissed. Taro prepared a message for the alien emissaries. He spoke not with arrogance or threats, but with calm authority. "We are humans," he said. "We do not seek unnecessary conflict. We act with thought, observation, and patience. You will find that cooperation with humanity brings greater results than conflict. We value knowledge, skill, and respect above pride or fear." The message was delivered across the stars, reaching commanders who had once believed humans were inconsequential. The aliens responded with humility. They admitted their arrogance and acknowledged the effectiveness of human strategy. Slowly, talks of cooperation began. They wanted to learn how humans had achieved such results with fewer resources, fewer ships, and quieter operations. Taro encouraged dialogue, showing that humans preferred understanding and alliance over domination. The galaxy, for the first time, saw humans not as simple observers but as skilled and intelligent actors in the larger system. Back on the human ship, Taro reflected on the journey. Years of preparation, patience, and careful observation had led to this moment. Humans had proven that strength was not only in firepower, but in discipline, foresight, and unity. The galaxy had underestimated the quiet human, but that underestimation had become humanity's advantage. Taro smiled quietly, knowing that the lesson had been learned. The human crew repaired their ships and prepared for the next journey. They continued to explore, learn, and observe. Humans had shown that they could survive, adapt, and even defeat larger, stronger forces without relying on arrogance or aggression. The quiet human was no longer invisible. Humanity had earned the respect of species that had once dismissed them. As Taro gazed at the stars, he thought of the planets waiting to be explored, the systems yet uncharted, and the challenges that lay ahead. Humans had proved that even the smallest and quietest could make a difference in the galaxy. Intelligence, patience, and careful planning were the greatest strengths a species could have. The galaxy would remember the day that the quiet human fleet shattered arrogance and earned respect in the following weeks. Cooperation between humans and the alien coalition grew. Humans shared knowledge, strategies, and insights. The aliens learned from humanity's adaptability and careful observation. In return, humans gained understanding of advanced technology and interstellar diplomacy. Taro watched as mutual respect replaced fear and arrogance. The galaxy was changing, and humans were at the center of that change, not through conquest, but through wisdom and skill. Taro knew that the quiet human would continue to be underestimated by some, but the lesson had been taught. Humans had patience, intelligence, and determination, qualities that could never be destroyed. Even in silence, humans could act decisively, and their actions would leave lasting marks on the galaxy. The story of the fleet, the careful planning, and the respect earned would become legend. Finally, Taro looked at his crew and smiled. "We are humans," he said softly. "We observe, we learn, and we act. The galaxy may forget our quiet nature, but it will never forget what humans can achieve when we are prepared." The crew nodded, proud and ready for the next challenge. Humanity had arrived as a force to be respected, not through arrogance or violence, but through intelligence, patience, and the quiet power of careful action.